Good day everyone, you're welcome back to this channel. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you how you can perfectly cut a princess that Bustier, and I will also be sharing with you the challenges you experience after joining the pieces together and how to handle it. Okay, so I'm sure you're going to find this tutorial very helpful. So if this is what you are interested in, come along with me and let's get started. Thank you. So this is an African print. I'll be using an African print. Now, the first thing I'm going to do right here is to determine the amount of fabric I will be needing for this tutorial. Now, I will be making use of an half cut, okay? Because I will be attaching the down part to it, either pleat or flare or peplum. But if yours is a blouse, it means you are to consider the length from the shoulder line to the up hip. Okay, now in this case, right now, like I said in my own case, I will be making use of an half cut, so which means that I will be considering the bust circumference. I'll be considering which I'm going to use between the bust circumference and the waist circumference, and in most cases the bust circumference is bigger than that of the waist circumference. If yours is a blouse, it means you have to consider which you are going to pick between the bust circumference and the hip circumference. Okay, but because I'm working with an half cut, so I'm to determine between the waist circumference and the bust circumference. Now, the bust circumference in this case is 36 inches, while the waist circumference is 28 inches. So right now, I will be folding this fabric into two thirds. I will be cutting the front piece first. So right now, and I will be working with the wrong side. This is the right side, while I'll be working with this side. So it is better you work on the wrong side because of the mark you will make on it. So right now, like I said, I'll go ahead and fold this fabric into two. Okay, so for me to measure the amount of fabric I will be needing for the half cut. Okay, now since the bust circumference is 36 inches, I will be dividing it by 4. Okay, I'll be dividing it by 4. So as you can see right here, I've folded it into two using the wrong side. So I'm going to go ahead and measure. Now 36 divided by 4 will give me 9 inches. So that 9 inches, I'm going to add at least 5 inches to it. If you're working with a plus size, you add at least 6 inches, okay? But because this is just like a medium size, so that's why I'll be adding just 5 inches to 1/4 of the bust circumference. So which means 9, which is 1/4 of 36 inches plus 5, will be giving me the total of 14 inches. So because it's folded into two, okay, you can see it's on fold. So I will be using 14 inches. I will be marking 14 inches. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and do that quickly. So right now, as you can see, this is the width I need for this fabric. Now I have about 14.5 inches right here. Is okay. So I'm going to go ahead right now and mark the length. The length for this half cut is 16 inches. So I have it right here. So that 16 inches, I'm going to add extra 2 inches to it. Okay, so 16 plus 2 will give me the total of 18 inches. So I'm going to mark it here, 18 inches. So I'm going to extend it to this edge also, and I mark the same 18 inches. Okay, so I mark it. I have 18 inches right here for the length of the half cut. So right now I will just go ahead and connect this together. Okay, because I will be cutting at this juncture. Now I can cut both the front and the back piece together. All I need to do, I'm just, after connecting these lines together, okay, let me connect the lines together. So I'm going to fold it back so that I can cut the two pieces at the same time. Can you see? So after connecting these two lines together, so I'm going to just fold it like this. I will hold it here and fold it like this so that I can cut the two pieces together at the same time. So I'm going to check again to give me that 18 inches, okay? 18 inches. So right now I can just cut. This is what I don't need. This is the extra which I'm going to discard. So I'm going to keep this. So it means I'm cutting the two pieces together. So I'm going to open this. So I will go ahead and open this. So right now I have both the back piece and the front piece, okay? Here is it. By the time I open it, you discover that I will be having like 28 or 29 inches for the width of one of the pieces. Can you see? So I have enough. This is what I have, okay? So I'm going to keep this second piece while I work on this, and this is going to serve as my front panel, okay? So right now I'm going to fold it into two equal parts like I'm doing right now. So after folding it into two equal parts, so the first thing I will be doing right here is to mark my zero line. So from this edge right here, I'm going to come down by 1 inch, okay? I come down by 1 inch. So I'm going to extend it to this, and I come down by 1 inch as well. So the next thing I'm going to do is just simply to connect this line to this line. So after connecting these lines together like I'm doing right now, so the next thing I'm going to do is to mark my reference line, okay? So let me make this visible, very bold, so that you can see it properly. So this is my zero line. It is on this zero line that I'm going to impute my shoulder, half of my shoulder line, and also my neck width. So before I go to that, so I will go ahead right now and mark my reference line. Okay, so I'm going to place it right on this zero line, my measuring tape. So I'm going to mark. So I will start with the bust line. The bust line for this is 10 inches. So I have my 10 inches right here. The bust line is 10.5 inches. So I have it right here. Then I have the under bust 13 inches. Then I have the half cut length, which is 16 inches. So right now, I'm going to just connect these lines together, or to make it easier, I'm going to extend it like this, exactly what I've just marked. 10.5 inches for the bust line, 13 inches for the under bust line, okay? Then 16 inches for the half cut length. So the next thing is just to go ahead and connect these lines together, okay? So I will go to the under bust and connect. So here are my reference line. Can you see? This is the bust line, this is the under bust line, and this is the half cut length. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to go to the zero line and mark my neckline width. So for my neckline width, I will be making use of 3 inches for the neck width. 3 inches. So I have it right here. Then the half of my shoulder line, the shoulder line is 15 inches divided by 2. So I'll have 7.5 inches. So from that point, I'm going to come down by 1 inch, or you could come down by 3/4 of an inch, that is 0.5 or 7.5. But I'm coming down by 1 inch, okay? So I come down by 1 inch. This 1 inch will serve as my shoulder slope, because naturally human shoulder is not straight. So it's very important. So from that point, I'm going to connect to this neck width. So I will go ahead and connect to the neck width, okay? So here is it. So from this point, I'm going to mark my armhole line. So for my armhole line, there's a little calculation you make for your armhole line. Is just to divide your bust circumference by 6 and add like 1.5 or 1.75 to it. So you will get your armhole line. So in my own case, I have 7.5 as my armhole length. So I'm going to connect to the shoulder slope like I'm doing right now, okay? So 7.5, I'm going to mark it here. So to create my armhole curve, so I will mark my bust line, okay? So 36 divided by 4 will give me 9 inches. So 1/4 of my 9 inches, I'm going to mark it right here. So I mark it here. So I extend this to mark that line. Okay, so right now just go ahead and create a curve on my armhole line. So how do I do that? So I've placed I'm going to look for the midpoint of my armhole length. So 7.5 divided by 2 will give me 3.75. So I have my 3.75 here. This is the midpoint of my armhole length, okay? So from that point, I'm going to come in by 3/4 by 0.75. So you could come in by half an inch or 0.75. So I will be coming in by 0.75, okay? So I come in 0.75. This is just to create the armhole curve. So from this point, I'm going to connect straight to the shoulder slope up here first. After connecting to the shoulder slope like I'm doing right now, can you see? After connecting to the shoulder slope, so the down part here is going to be a slight curve to meet the bust. The bust. So the 1/4 of the bust circumference which I've just measured. So you can use your free hand, and if you are a beginner, I will advise you use your French curve, okay? So I will just connect like this, okay? So the next thing I'm going to do right now is, having completed this, the next thing I will be doing right now is to go back to my neckline and mark my neck depth. So my neck depth in this case, I will be using, it depends on what you want anyway. I will be using 3.5 inches. So I mark it right here. So I will just create a curve to meet that. Can you see? So the next thing I will be doing right now is to go to my dad's length. And how do I determine my dart length? Is to consider the bust span. And the bust span simply means is the distance between one nipple to the other. That's the bust span. And in this case, the bust span is 7.5 inches, 7.5 inches. So 7.5 inches divided by 2 will give me 3.75 inches. So I'm going to add 0.5 inch to it. So by the time I add 0.5, it will give me 4.25 inches. So on the bust line, I'm going to mark 4.25 inches. And I have it right here. Okay. So you could add 0.75 or 0.5 inches to yours. Okay. So, but in this case, I'm adding 0.5 inches. Okay. 0.5 inch. So I will go to the under bust line. This is the under bust line. So that 0.5 inch, which I added to that of the bust, I'm going to remove it. So instead of 4.025 here is going to be 3.75 inches. So I have it right here. The reason why is that is because naturally, if you look at the bust, between the bust and the under bust of female is not equal. Okay, it's a bit slanty. So that's just the reason for that. So what I mark on the bust line here, on the under bust line here, is what I will be marking on the half cut line also. 3.75 inches. So I have it right here. I hope you are getting it. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is just to connect these lines together. So I will connect. So I will go ahead and connect this to this as well. So if you look at it, you see that it's a bit slanty. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to go to this armhole line. So from this midpoint of this armhole line, I'm going to come down by 0.5. So this is the half point. So I'm going to come down from that midpoint by 0.5, and I have it right here. So from this point right now, I'm going to connect to this straight. So you could use your free hand and you could use your ruler to do that. Can you see? So right now, having connected, the next thing I'm going to do right now, to create my dart on the armhole curve, I will, from this point, I'm going to come up here by 1 inch first. So I come up by 1 inch here. After coming up by 1 inch here, I will now go to this place. Here, I'm going to mark 0.75 downwards here. So I have my 0.75 here, okay? Then also on the upper part, from that same point, I'm going to come up by 0.75 inch. 0.75 inch. So right now, we just go and connect it to this point here, okay? I will also connect this to this same point here. So I will also go ahead and do likewise here. I connect to this point here. Can you see? So I'll have to make it more perfect than this, okay? So right now, having connected, the next thing I'm going to do from this leg here, 1 2 3, this third leg here, I'm going to come out by 1.5. Where do I get the 1.5? Is as a result of this 0.75 plus 0.75 of this, these two dots here, 0.75, 0.75 will give me 1.5. So I'm going to come out by 1.5 inches here. So I'm going to place my ruling tape and mark 1.5 right here. So I will just go ahead and connect to meet that. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do right now, so having extended this leg by 1.5, I will also go ahead here. I will extend here also by 1.5. So right now, the reason why I'm doing this is because so that by the time I'm joining, this one will not be shorter than this. Okay. So that's just the essence, and it's very, very important. So I will just go and connect this to this by 1.5 inches. So right now, having concluded this, so the next thing I'm going to do right now, I will go down to this place here. I will come back to this bust line. So from this bust line, to create my curve on the hammer, or sorry, on the bust, so I'm going to come down by 1 inch right here. From the bust line, I come down by 1 inch here. After coming down by 1 inch here, so from this point, I'm going to come in by 2 inches. Okay, I'm coming in by 2 inches right here. Now, if you are working with a plus size, you come in by 2.5 inches, 2.5 inches, okay, or even 2 3/4 or 2.75 inches. So you come at least by 2.5 inches or 2.75 inches. But because I'm working with like a medium size, so you come in by either 1.75 inches or 2 inches. But I will be coming in by 2 inches. Can you see? So right now, from this angle here, I'm going to come in or come out by 3/4 of an inch. That is 0.75 inches or half an inch. But I will be coming out by 0.75 inch. This is just to create a very smooth curve. Okay. So right now, I'm going to create a curve right here to meet this. So can you see? You can see the curve is already being formed. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do, now I came in by 2 inches here. I will also do likewise on the waist circumference. I will also come in by that same 2 inches. Okay. So I mark it. So I will just connect these lines to meet this. Can you see it? So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to go ahead and impute my circumference. So I will start with the bust circumference. Okay. Now I'm going to place it here. You know the bust for this is 36 inches, and I've already marked it before when I was creating my hammer curve. Okay, I have it here. Now plus the 1.5 inches which I extended by this, which I also bring out here. So right now I'm going to go ahead and add 1 inch because we are going to slash this and we will join it together. So half an inch on both sides will give me 1 inch. So I mark it 1 inch. Then plus the seam allowance. So I will be using seam allowance of 2 inches. So it's better you use like 2 inches or at least 1.5. Don't use like 1 inch because by the time you are joining, you may find some. So it's better you use like at least 1.5 inches. But I'm using 2 inches in my own case right here. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to go straight to the underbust. I have the underbust. Why you can see that I boycott this. The reason why I didn't place my reeling tape on this is because whatever I mark on the chest line, this is the chest line and this is the bust line, is equal. Okay, so that is why I go straight to the under bust line. Now the under bust for this is 27 inches. So 27 inches divided by 4 will give me 27 inches divided by 4 will give me 6.75 inches. So I'm going to mark it. I have it right here. 6.75 inches is here. So having marked the half of 1/4 of the what of the underbust line or circumference, so I will go ahead. These 2 inches here, which I mark here, I'm going to remove it. So I will have to replace it back. So I'm going to mark that same 2 inches as a replacement. Okay. So after that, then I add 1 inch for my joining. 1 inch for the joining. Then 2 inches for the seam allowance. You remember I used 2 inches for the seam allowance right here. So I mark. Okay. So the next thing is to go to the waistline. Now the waist is 28 inches divided by 4. I have 7 inches. So I have it right here. So then these 2 inches, I will replace it back. So I mark 2 inches, that replacement. Okay. So then I mark 1 inch for the joining. 1 inch. Then 2 inches for my seam allowance. So I have it right there. Can you see? So the next thing I'm going to do right now, that is very, very important. So I'm going to go back to this shoulder line. So this shoulder line, and that is the essence why I had to mark my zero line. So from this shoulder slope, I'm going to mark 0.5 inch upward. This is going to serve as my shoulder allowance. Okay. So I will also, on this neck width, I will also go up by half an inch. So I will go ahead and connect this to this. Okay. Using my ruler. Connect. Okay. Can you see? You can see what I've drawn out. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to connect this line to this line. After that, I connect straight to the chest line. Then I go straight to the chest line and connect. Can you see? So please and please, this one which I've also done is very, very important. The reason why this one is very important, that is coming up by 0.5 inch for the shoulder allowance, is that if this one is not done, it's going to affect the bust line. Okay, it's going to affect it. So that is why that one also is very, very important. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do right now is to cut. So right now, before I go to cutting, I've just, by extending this by 1.5, it means I'm going to recreate, there's going to be another new creation of armhole. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to connect, to create a curve from this point to meet this, okay, to meet this chest line. So I'm going to go ahead right now and connect it, that slight curve to meet this. So this becomes our new armhole curve. Okay, so let me make it more. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to cut. Now in cutting, you can do your cutting in 2 ways. You see that we start from here like this, like this, so that after that we can now eliminate this and this, or we come up like this, then I come like this, straight like this, after which, but one thing is important, this must be eliminated, and also this and this must be eliminated. So right now the next thing is to cut. So I'm going to start from here, and I go ahead and cut. Okay, so after that I'm going to eliminate this. Okay, so trace it. Can you see? So right now I'm going to go ahead, I will keep this aside, then I go ahead, I will eliminate this and also this. I'm going to proceed right now. This is the 0.5 inch of the shoulder allowance, so which must not be forgotten. So then the shoulder, the neckline. So I'm going to go ahead and cut. So this is the front panel. Okay, here is the front panel. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to cut the back panel or the back piece. Okay, so here is the second piece, and this is for the back piece. So right now I'll be working on the back piece. So the first thing I'm going to do right now is to mark my zero line. So from this edge here, I'm going to come down by 1 inch, 1 inch. Okay, then I will extend it to this other side and mark my 1 inch. So the next thing I'm going to do is simply to connect these lines together. So here is my zero line. Okay, so the next thing I will be doing right now is to mark my zipper seat, because it's going to have a zipper. So I'm going to mark my zipper seat of in 1.5 inch. It's okay. You could use 1.5, you could use 2 inches, you could even use 1 inch. Okay, so I'm going to mark 1.5 inch for my zipper allowance. So I will come down here. I will also mark 1.5 inch. So the next thing I'm going to do is just to connect these lines together. So this becomes my zipper seat. So the next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and mark my reference line. Okay, from this zero line, the bust line is 10 inches. Sorry, I eventually use 10 inches. Okay, not 10.5. Sorry, even for the front panel, I use 10 inch. I later use 10 inches. Sorry for that. So I'm going to extend and mark that same 10 inches for the bust line. Then for the under bust line, 13 inches. Then the half cut line, that is the waistline, 16 inches. I will also come here and do likewise. I've already marked 10 inches as for my bust line, under bust 13 inches, then half cut line 16 inches. So the next thing I will be doing is just to go ahead and connect these lines together. So these are my reference lines, as you can see. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to mark my width, the neck width. So my neck width is 3 inches. So I mark, you can see where I place, this is the center back, okay? You can see I place it right on this line, not inside this place. So on this line, I will mark my neck width of 3 inches, okay? Then the half of my armhole line, 7.5 inches, that is 15 divided by 2. I have it here. So from that point, I'm going to mark 1 inch for my shoulder slope. So from this point, I'm going to connect straight to the neck width. So I connect to the neck width, okay? So having connected to the neck width, from that point, I'm going to mark my armhole length of 7.5 inches. And I told you how to go about it when I was cutting or marking that of the front piece, okay? So I'm connecting to the shoulder slope. So the next thing I'm going to do right now to create the curve, I will go ahead and mark my 1/4 of my bust circumference, and 36 divided by 4 will give me 9 inches. You can see where I place my measuring tape on this line. So I'm going to mark 9 inches right there, which is here. So I will just connect straight to that. Can you see? So right now, I'm going to create my curve on my armhole. And how do I do that? I look for the midpoint of this armhole length, which is 7.5 divided by 2, give me 3.75 inches, and I have it right here. So from that point, I will go ahead and just connect straight. You will discover that this one is a bit different from the front. It's a bit different from what I did in the front. The reason is that in this case, I didn't come in. The reason is that naturally, the front part of human is human armor is a bit deeper than that of the back. So since I'm working with the back, I don't need to come in by any inches. So it is just on that midpoint that I will have to create my curve. Okay, that's just the difference. So I'm explaining it because of the beginners, so that they will understand even more better. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do right now is to determine my bust span in order to create my my princess dart. So, and my bust span is 7.5 inches. 7.5 inches divided by 2 will give me 3.75 inches. I'm going to add 0.5 to it, and I said you could add 0.75 to yours, so I'm going to add 0.5 inch to it. But because it's the back piece, so because it's this back piece, I will go ahead and add 0.75 to that 3.75. Okay, so it will eventually give me 4.5 inches on this bust line. So I'm going to mark 4.5 inches, because now I'm working with the back piece. Okay, so now I'm going to come here. I'm going to mark just exactly the half of my bust span, which is 3.5 inches. So that is what I will be marking right here. So I'm going to mark on this under bust line. So also on this half cut line, I will also mark the same 3.5, which I've just marked on the under bust line. Okay. So the next thing is just to connect. I will connect straight. Okay, I connect. I also go to the bust line. I connect to this. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is this midpoint here, midpoint which I mark, that is half of the armhole length, which gives me 3.75. From this midpoint, I'm going to come up by 0.5 inch. Okay, so I'm going to come up by 0.5 inch. You remember when I was working on the front piece, I came down by 0.5, but because this is the back piece, I'm coming up by 0.5 inch. So from that point, I will just go straight and connect to this point here. So you could use your free hand, and you could use your ruler to do this. So I connect like I'm doing right now, straight to that point. Okay, so having connected, as you can see, so the next thing I'm going to do right now having connected, from this point now I'm going to come out by 1 inch. The reason why I have to come out by 1 inch, so that by the time I join, one will not be shorter than one. So very, very important, so that I don't have shortage of length. So that is the essence why I'm coming out. I have to come out by 1 inch. Okay, so after coming out by 1 inch, so I'm going to create another curve to meet this. So from that point, I create another curve to meet the chest line. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do right now is to go ahead and so I'm going to come down to this line. Okay, I will come in by 0.5 inch from the waistline. I come in by 0.5 inch here. Here I come in by 0.5 inch here. Okay, then here I come in by 0.5 inch here. So I'm going to connect straight to meet this. Okay, so I will just connect straight to meet this. The reason why you have to do this, so that by the time I finish joining the pieces together, I won't have any bulge at the back. There won't be any bulge like this at the back. That's just the essence. By the time I finish joining, you see it laying flat, very flat. Okay, so this one is also important. So having connected, so the next thing I'm going to do is to go to my neckline and mark my neck depth, my neckline depth. So I will be using the neckline depth of 2 inches. So I'm going to mark it here. Can you see? So right now I'm going to connect from here to meet this with a slant curve. So having done that, the next thing I'm going to do right now is to come to this shoulder slope. I'm going to mark half an inch upwards, and I also come here and mark half an inch upwards. So I'm going to connect straight to this. So I connect. Can you see? So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to impute my circumference. So the bust circumference, this is the bust line. Instead of me placing it on the bust line, I would rather place it on the chest line, because whatever I have on the chest line is the same thing, is on the bust line. So I'm going to place it on the chest line. Half of 1/4 of the bust line, 36 divided by 4 will give me 9 inches, which I have it right here. So I'm going to go ahead and mark 1 inch. So I'm going to mark 1 inch. The essence of this 1 inch is the joining. So I will use 0.5 to join it on both sides. So that is 1 inch. Then plus 2 inches for my seam allowance. You remember when I was marking that of the front piece, I used the seam allowance of 2 inches. So it has to be uniform. So 2 inches. So right now, I will just, yes. So that's the perfect curve. So the next thing I'm going to do, I will just go straight to the under bust, and the under bust is 27 inches. 27 inches divided by 4 will give me 6.75 inches, and I have it right here. Okay, plus 1 inch for my joining, I have it here. Then plus 2 inches for the seam allowance, so I have it right here. Okay, so I go to the half cut line. So I mark the half cut, which is the waist circumference. I have it 28 inches divided by 4 gives me 7 inches. Okay, I have it 7 inches, plus 1 inch for the joining, I have it right here. Then plus 2 inches for the seam allowance. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do right now is just to connect these lines together. So you may want to ask me that, because this is going to be our new princess dart line, not this one. Okay, so right now, the next thing we'll be doing right now is to cut it out. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and cut. So like I said this is the new princess dart line. go ahead and cut. So I'm going to remove this. So by the time I join, because of this extension, by the time I join, I won't have shortage of this. It won't be that this one will be shorter than this. So that is the essence of this extension by 1 inch. Okay, I want to believe that you have found this tutorial very helpful. So as you can see, haven't finished cutting the fabric. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to go ahead using this fabric to cut the interface and also the facing. Okay, so having completed the cutting, the next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead to the zipper allowance. So from here I'm going to make a notch. So this notch is going to serve as a guide for me, okay, so that by the time I begin to join it together, I won't have any problem with that. After making a notch right there, so the next thing I'm going to do right now is to let you know the challenges or the problem you may come across after sewing this, after sewing your princess dart bustier pieces together. So you discover that this front here is deeper, is curvier than that of the back panel. If you look at it, very obvious. And because of this, it will make this to be the length of this one. This one will in the process choke some amount of length compared to this, so that by the time you join it together, you discover that when you put it on, you discover that this one will be longer than this. So in order to eliminate that, the first thing you have to do, so that when you join it together, so that it will lay properly and it will be of the same height, okay, the first thing you have to do in this regard is that this back piece here, the 1 inch allowance, I'm going to remove it. So, and this is the 1 inch allowance, okay, for what I have here. So right now I'm going to go ahead and eliminate. I'm going to remove it completely. So from the back piece, so I'm going to remove it, so that by the time I join it together, I won't experience the back piece longer than that of the front. Okay, so I will have to remove it completely. This is one. Then the second thing you will notice is that this one here, because of this shape here, you will discover that because of this one here, you discover that when you join this one finish, this side here will not align very well. It will come like this, somehow like this. You won't like it. So in order to eliminate that, so from this one here, from this point here, this same line here, I'm going to come up by 0.75 inch. I'm going to come up by 0.75 inch. Then I connect to the down part here. So I'm going to use my ruler to do that now. So from that point, I will come down, I will connect. Can you see? So right now I'm going to remove this. So the essence of doing this is because so that after I've joined the pieces together, it will lay very well. Okay, it will lay very well. That's the essence. So if this two observation, if this is not tackle or handle, by the time you finish sewing, you won't like what the output it will give you. Now that we have tackled the challenges we may face, okay, tackled solve the problem by removing the slashing this a bit, and also removing the 1 inch which is supposed to be for the M allowance. Now, by the time you lay it, you finish everything, you discover that everything will come out perfectly and very, very perfect. Okay, so I want to believe that you have found this tutorial very, very helpful. Just go ahead and try yours and tell us what you have achieved so far. Okay, so I will be expecting your comments regarding this particular tutorial, what you have achieved so far after you have done yours. Okay, and if you have any other question apart from this I've just shown to you regarding this same tutorial, please drop your question in the comment section. And if you have any comments, please you can go ahead and drop your comments as well. If you are yet to subscribe this channel, kindly drop your click on the subscribe button and hit on the notification bell to get more updates in on this channel. Okay, this is a husband channel, Toastman Fashion channel. Here is a channel where you can learn how to cut and sew and how to crochet different kinds of wear. You can see it's 2-in-1. So I will implore you, why can't you join this great family so that you learn more? Thank you very much. Till I come your way again, bye for now. Please don't forget to use this fabric now to cut the facing and the interface. All you need to do is just to place it on your facing, which is lining, and the interface, which is the stay, the normal stay you use, the soft one. You can just lay it on it and use it to cut out the shape. Then you are done. Thank you very much. Bye. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.